Hey, what's going on, fellas? Part two of the video. We're going to make this a live public YouTube video for part two. For part one, got so many good responses. Want to keep it going. Looking at the game film. I know a lot of guys like Scheme Guide. If you follow his channel, he's done a really good job. He has a Patreon as well, where he's put out a guide on this whole defense. And he, go look at that guide. He has really good perspective on things. He did the study and he's been using it in some of his leagues. So I'm looking at it more, just kind of putting eyes on it for the first time. And I wanted to make sure I talk with you guys through it. See, I love to get your opinions on things. You know what I mean? So let's just take a look at this. There were some comments about, that they're running a big nickel package out of the 3-3-5 penny front, really. And number 44, I think it's Martellus, is that how you say his name, is actually a safety. So I absolutely understand that, and that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even know, like, Match Quarters, Cody Alexander talked about this being a nickel package. I need to see this versus other formations to confirm how they're truly lining up to it. Okay, but if you look at this defense, like I had said, I called this a 3-4. It hit me that way because of the construction of the defense, right? We are just basically in an odd front, or it could be in a Cub type of front with our 3 down linemen, right? We have our 3 backers here, so this is where you can call it a 3-3-5, being that this is your safety. But where is he lined up? I mean, he's lined up like a linebacker. And when you watch some of these early downs, I guarantee you from a coaching perspective that they are designing this stuff as a 34 call. Now they may call it a nickel call. This could be nickel, and 44 needs to come in the box and play his linebacker position. But I definitely think this guy's being cross-trained to play linebacker. So how do you create this in the game? Well, yeah, you can't do this necessarily in Madden or in college football, because you can't put a safety at linebacker. But we're going to look at the calls that they're calling out of it and try to get ourselves in this position. Some leagues that you guys might be in, if you're like me and you're in a sim league, they may not allow you to manually move players into the box. But if you have a league that thinks, they understand what you're trying to get done, I think even in my league, if somebody presented this to me, I would be able to get this done the right way. But this guy in Madden is going to be standing out here even wider. So we're going to have to bring in, also in college football, we're gonna have to bring him into the box. Okay, so I'm gonna take a look. I'm gonna show you that right now. I'm actually gonna jump into college football for a second and just kind of show it to you. You can see up front we have variety of different fronts here. This is going to be more of just like an odd front, really, so we can kind of do that by spreading our D line. And then also there's some other fronts coming up here in a second. Let me skip ahead. When they get to that under front, like I told you guys, so they kind of shift into this one here, right? This is an under front, so we can call 3-3-5 penny. All right, and what we're going to have to do is move that safety into the box, all right, and try to shift the D-line around. But we can get this kind of under front as well. I feel like we can kind of get this done. So I think those are the main ones that we saw, is the odd, the true Cub front, and also this under type of look. So let's just jump into the game. I just want to kind of like start off this way before I get into some more film, just to kind of confirm that we can do this before we move on, because obviously we are tied to whatever EA Sports allows us to do in the game right now. But if we want to get that safety in the box, let's try to make it work. So let's just jump over to the other side right now. Give me a second. Okay, so I have up here loaded up. This is just NCAA. I picked tempo, and we're looking at the penny alignments. This playbook is the 3-3-5 type playbook. And I also I jumped on to, big shout out again to the Discord called Game Plan Discord. I jumped on there. I wanted to ask Scheme Guide how if he is moving the safety in the box, because again, the safety right now is number, if I'm not mistaken, let's go to the right one. Number 2 and number 4, those are 2 safeties right now. Okay, so if we came out versus, let's just call right now the same pressure that we kind of saw, both edge guys coming off the edge, saw blitz 3, and we came out versus a set like we've been seeing, like single back wing, right? This is what it would look like. Actually, hold on one second. I did have the coverage shell on 0. I don't want to start that way. Let's just go default. I do believe we're going to have to play around with the coverage shells as well, but let me just show you what it looks like default. versus a wing set, right? So this is what it will look like. It looks nothing like what we saw in the film. I think we're going to have to play around with the coverage shells. I'm just going to go with a cover 2 shell for now because that's all that's available. But we can take this safety and bring him into the box. Now, the only bad thing is you notice that he's aligned to the strong side. If you remember the film, the safety was aligned to the weak side. So that might be something that we don't want, but we're going to kind of go through it, step through. What I'm going to do here is shift my linebackers. Hold on one second. Shift my linebackers to, I'm going to spread them actually. Doesn't work. I'm going to shift them to the left. There we go. So what that kind of does is get this player to be a little bit more over the guard. He's like a 30 technique. And then this player here, the only bad thing, it does move in this player against this, that this may not be the best way to get aligned to it. All right, so that's one way to look at it. Now, if you really wanted to show cover 3, right, doesn't matter maybe which safety's in the box, but you would actually have to flip this one here. If you want to have that deep safety be down, then I can have this safety be weak. So really what I'm trying to get to is trying to talk about is, let me move the linebackers to the right if I can. If you want that safety that's always down, the down safety to be to the weak side, you're going to have to probably work some defenses out that where it's flipped, and you're going to have your deep safety be the one to come down, and your weak safety would end up becoming, basically this is like your nickel, he would end up becoming your will linebacker. I think this is kind of how you want to get it set. But we can talk more about this later. I'm just kind of, spitballing it with you right now. Front right now, we have it in that nice little cub front. We want to go to the odd, we would spread the guys out. I don't really like the 5 techniques. That's not great. But if we want to get to the under, we just shift them to the right here in this case. So we shift it to the tight end side. And at least we get the alignments correct. Now, we're going to have to take a look at the actual, which way these guys are actually slanting or going. That might be something to think about. Run fit wise, let's just take a look at this real quick. All right, so you can see how there's a little bit of an issue here with this run fit. With my user, he doesn't have a fit right now, but if I'm using him, that's okay. But we can talk more about that later. This to me would be the ideal way to potentially run this defense, is to run it flipped, right? So your nickel comes in the box and then get lined up this way. So to me, I just wanted to show you guys that. Let me know what you think. If you really want to run it that way, if your league allows you to do it, or if you're just playing online, you can get the personnel to be in the right spots with that adjustment. All right. So what we'll do here is jump back into the game film. I'm going to watch the second series and we will take a look at it and see what we got. Okay, let's take a look at this first play. They are in 12 personnel slot formation. We're going to go a little faster here, guys, trying to get to some more plays for you guys. This is going to be our generic, again, big nickel package, all right, out of the penny. You got to get this safety to get in the box somehow, some way. He's aligned to the weak side here, so again, we might have to actually auto-flip our defense and turn auto-flip off and try to get this guy to the boundary. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we have a safety coming down here. You can see him coming down. He's going to play seam flat, but he's playing it with zone match principles, not man match principles. So how are we going to create that? Well, all we're going to do here, I'll spend some more time talking about this later. I'm going to save that for later. I want to get it worked out before I tell you what to do, but we're going to basically not play match defense, and we'll figure out ways to kind of get that done, but still get some of that zone match relation going on. Okay, so they're 12 personnel. Again, they're still in that big nickel package, but it's really based out of a 3-4 look. This one's interesting. I saw this one, watched it a few times. I think there is a name for this technique. You guys might know more than I do, but the safety walks down and he's not really blitzing, but he's like shoving the tight end, and then he kind of like floats off. But everybody else here is playing post safety defense, right? It looks like we're getting 3 deep, 3 under with the same type of pass rush that we've gotten 5 guys coming. So, sometimes when you do this stuff, guys, you're setting up people up for the future. You want to get the protection. You want to see what kind of protection they're doing with you guys. Right now, you can see they're keeping a tight end in to block this edge player, which is not ideal, but that's probably because they are sliding to the left or sliding to the offensive left here. So you can see the slide starts from the guard, works over, and we have our man side over here to the right. So they're working different protections. The defense is kind of seeing how they're blocking it up. But watch how 22 does this. I'm not sure how to recreate this, but he kind of basically like jams that guy. And it seems like a very much so. I think he's a zone defender. It just feels a lot like how you would see back in the day the Patriots used to do that with their outside backers a lot. All right, so right now we have 3rd and 1. So 3rd and 1, you're going to get a different personnel grouping here on defense. You're going to get true 34. You can see 44, the Martellus, is that his name? He's off the field. So I said 44, said 34. This is their 6-1 package, okay? We already saw this already. So we have our 4 big bodies, our 4 down linemen, outside linebacker, inside backer, okay? So we are coming out in a 6-1 defense right here. So we gotta, if you guys are playing this system and you're making a custom, you want to try to find that if you can. I don't know if there's any stock books that give you that. And then from a coverage standpoint, sometimes it's hard to tell. You can see that 22 walks down to cover the tight end. You know, I would think this is man-to-man, be honest with you, but it's hard to tell. It's some sort of post-safety defense. Okay, now we get 1st and 10. They go from 2x2 to 3x1. Really, they go to 4 strong with this motion. And it looks like from a personnel standpoint, the defense has now switched to their 2-4 package, but they're doing it with big nickel. So 44 is out here playing like the nickel spot over the number 2 receiver. You have your 2 backers here in the box. You have your you have an edge guy here. So this is really a 24, right? 2-4, nickel 2-4. Because I already looked at it ahead. These 2 guys are inside backers, but they're doing it with a big nickel. 44 is playing that nickel spot, okay? And now you got a corner, safety. So this would be 2-4, big nickel adjustment. It looks like here with this motion, before the motion, it looks like some sort of 3-eye. What's his name kind of walks down. So this would be like show 3. But with this motion, there's no reason to show anymore. They're going to get to cover 4 at the bottom of the screen. You can see that this player is becoming, this 22 is kind of becoming a poacher, right? Because there's 3 receivers over here, really 4. He's looking to poach. This guy back here is still playing quarters. Now, I don't know exactly what happened, how they're going to play this. I thought I saw some hand movements here. I think they're getting to cover 2 with this motion, so we can have some hard players down there, make the ball cut back if anything. But that's what it looks like to start. It looks like some sort of quarters or cover 2 or cover 9 in the Madden world, really playing half field up top, quarters at the bottom with this type of deal, all right? They're going to run like pretty much a read, QB read, RPO type of play. They almost really, the offense did a good job on this, kind of gashed them here. Interesting here, I didn't notice this, all right? There is a pressure coming right here. So this is a classic example of, right now they are in the over front. So we have a shade, a 3, okay, to the tight end side. So from a pressure standpoint, this is your 3 rec player. This is classic to what we see in a lot of teams, and also obviously in his defense. And this is the first time we've seen it in his defense in this film. But guys who have watched the defense understand that the 3 rec player and their quarters defense sometimes becomes the rusher. The philosophy is, if it's a pass, most of the time they have it set up so that the running back is going to have to stay in anyway. So you really don't need a 3 rec player if there's no running back. Makes a lot of sense. So he's blitzing. I'm not sure what the angle is here. So this would be nickel 2-4, cover 9 at the end of the day, and blitzing your middle linebacker to the open side B gap. All right, so that's how you would recreate this if you were playing in Madden right now. With the blitz responsibility, this is a classic. You have an open B here. You know, you have a situation where technically this is not an open B. We're creating a B here. So there's different ways to play with the backside end. I'll go over that like in another video. But with somebody in the B gap, a lot of times you don't have to, this player here doesn't have to really kind of squeeze down to protect the B gap or try to make sure the tackle doesn't get up. He can play more of a true option football and try to stay on the quarterback, in my opinion. But that's just, I'm not coaching them. I'm not sure how they're coaching that, but we can talk more about that later on. he's reading the end comes down, he keeps the ball, goes from there. All right, so they get 6 yards on that. It's 2nd and 4 on 42, minus 42. Looks like 12 personnel. They do a little bit of that short motion, that little, I can call it cheat, I guess. It comes back actually and blocks the backside in on inside zone. So we can see here, they stayed in this defense right here would be the, yep, they stayed in the same defense actually. Hold on, let me go back to the wide shot here. They're in 12, they might be in 11 personnel. Yeah, they're still in 11 personnel. We have number 44 is down here playing the nickel, right? We got our 2-4 box here. We got a safety walk down, and he's going to come off the edge. So this would just be a safety pressure off the weak side on this one. Coverage, let's see what we get behind it. Probably going to be some sort of cover 3. Or this isn't a simulated pressure, so it's going to be, you know, zone pressure 3. Watch what 44 does to this wide receiver right here. Crumples him. 44 is an impressive dude, man. Watch what he does to this receiver that tries to block him. Pez dispenser. And then over here, he gets caught up in the back, you know, and all the rough behind him. But yeah, let's just see this play right here. This is just inside zone. I'm not going to talk through how they, you know, how they stopped it, but just want to kind of get through some more concepts. All right, this is going to be 3rd and 2. Okay, so 3rd and 2. They are back into that penny package, and what they're starting to do, you can see already, 44 who was in the box is starting to walk down. That means it's probably going to pressure off the edge. So we'd have to find a play versus this type of set here. I think this is 12 personnel where, you know, it's just a nickel pressure, right? So you'd have to walk them into the box and then maybe walk them back out. Let's see what coverage we get behind it. I think with this type of set here, this is where we're going to look at probably seeing a little bit more of that split safety coverage that he's known for, because it's kind of a tight set. And there it goes, the classic cover 4, right? This time we're bringing the nickel really off the edge, or that linebacker, if you want to look at it that way. He started, looks like, let's see how they started formation-wise. It looks like it started off as a wing set. So the pressure was going to be coming off the wing. They kept it on, it didn't change anything. All right, and you're going to get a dropper here and a dropper here. How are we going to replicate that necessarily? I'm not 100% sure. It looks like hot drops to me. If I had to go back and take a look at that, it looks like 51 is trying to read in the eyes of the quarterback. Well, it's a, you know, again, it's a run fake. He's just getting to the right. It looks like he's the hot player to the right, and then there's the other outside backer here. Grenard, is that his name? He goes back and he gets, well, he kind of stays on that guy right there to the flat. So that's something that looking at and trying to look at. I went back and watched some other people's tape. They do a really good job of like jamming up the tight ends and also making sure that the easy little flat options aren't there. So very interesting. But this is going to be just a 2-man route on 3rd down. We're just getting, when I say 2-man route, there's only 2 guys going deep here. So this is like any type of play action route you would see from like the Shanahan scheme. Probably going to be a dig and an out or some sort of post or something. Some type of combination they feel like that can beat their coverage. Looks like a read route. So that's actually a pretty good call. Sit down, boom, and you got to throw that with anticipation. He might have been able to throw that, because that kind of splits the quarters coverage right there. So I think the play call was pretty good. I don't think the execution was well. Right now, he should probably see it and rip it, right? He waits a second. I'm not quite sure what happened, and it overthrows it. So pressure-wise, it's coming away from the slide. So it kind of doesn't really benefit the defense right there. It's actually a pretty good call by the offense. So that was the next series, guys. That was the first time that we got a chance to see the quarters coverage with the pressure. I just wanted to show it to you guys. I think that's going to be a big part of what we're going to see versus compression sets. I already went back and looked at Cody Alexander talked about it. A lot of people talked about it when they played against the 49ers and when they played against the Texans, and how much of the quarters, exactly what you just saw there, some sort of pressure and playing quarters behind it is big. Now, I went and also looked at Thinking Football over the past day, and he did a whole nice breakdown of how they play palms, how they play quarters, how they play cover two. So really, just off the strength, if you want to jump out in the game right now and play, you can really kind of mix up how you're going to rush and in what logical manner can you play these split safety coverage defenses and bring 5, right? And then once we start getting into third down and long, we'll start talking about bringing 6 and things like that. But just want to kind of give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I'm experimenting with this. I'm going to probably put together my own full little package on it. So if anybody wants to use it in a league setting, college football and Madden, just jump over to my Patreon. I'll give you guys the actual play call sheet like you guys see me do for the 3-4 disguise defense. I'm going to update that. My boy Trix, is it Trix that told me that? I think it was somebody told me to go get that clinic. I watched the clinic this weekend or this past couple days of Jesse Mentor talking and also Mike McDonald talking. It was pretty good. I got some good information from them, just the idea of how they work their pressures and things like that, and just the concept and how easy it can be. And I'm pretty sure Flores is using a lot of the same concepts when it comes to using a 3-4 and getting that nice little 5th rusher in there or getting some simulated pressure on early downs. Okay, so that's kind of like the thing that everybody's doing now, is sitting 5 or 4, rushing through those B gaps, sometimes coming off the edge and just making life hard for an offense. Okay, all right guys, I'll hit you guys in the next video. Short one today. Just want to get this out to you guys. I probably, from this point on, I'll probably break down the film and actually show you specific plays instead of just going through it play by play, so you guys get more out of it. Join me on the Patreon for part 3. If you guys have any questions, comments, you want to hear more, you want to talk some ball, let me know. Talk to y'all later, man. Peace.